High school sports, we've got it covered. Overtime starts now.
Hello and welcome to Overtime. I'm Scott Leber.
And I'm Drew Collins. We have a lot of playoff action on our plate again for this show. We'll preview tomorrow's lineup and key games. Tim Bailey will join us to discuss both Belvedere North's game and Boylan's game.
And the three of us will also give you our top players for the Nick 10 this season, and Drew and I will also give you our top players for the Big Northern Conference in the NUIC. Well, two of our local teams took the field tonight.
One was the Dixon Dukes. They were home for a 4A playoff game against Chicago Agricultural Science. The Cyclones were on defense first. And let's welcome in Dixon's finest, Landon Carnegie. He breaks some ankles and nearly breaks mine here at the goal line. Dixon up 8-0. Just in case you want to know Dixon's game plan, here it is. Give it to number 4 and watch him score. Landon does it again, but this time to the other pylon. He had 4 of those tonight. But hey, Dixon can throw the ball too. Colin Shaner is a stud, and watch this sweet spiral to Gabe Rowley to extend their lead. And let's not forget about special teams. A nice kick here. Tyson Damman for the return. He breaks this one right up the middle, and the Dukes literally run away with this one. The Dukes won 51-6. They improved to 10-1.
Well, feel good. Anytime you can get playoff wins, that's the goal. Just very, very proud of our kids. A 10-win season. This is only the second 10-win season in Dixon history. For about a month now, playing on the day after Thanksgiving is our goal.
Stay together, keep on pushing, and then just keep on practicing hard like we do every week and just keep on bringing it to the football game.
Great game by Dixon. The Rochelle Hubs are also in action on their home field tonight. They hosted Bennett Academy of Lisle, the Red Wings, in a 5A game, and the Hubs were ready from the opening kickoff. How about this? Dilly Manning on the return. Watch the... Oh, man, he almost broke it, but not quite. However, moments later, Grant Gensler takes the pitch, and he'll run it in from 8 yards out, so 8-0 just like that. Gensler on defense, too. Look at this. Intercepts that ball. Great anticipation there. That led to this. Dylan Manning, he's got a hole. Little stiff arm coming up here. And then watch the footwork as he tiptoes inside that pylon. That's a 28-yard touchdown. Gensler added another short touchdown before halftime. Then in the third quarter, Gensler gets the ball again, and he has all kinds of running room. This was a 75-yard touchdown. Gensler rushed for 137 yards and 4 touchdowns. Coach Kissick got a Gatorade shower after this when he never saw it coming. The Hubs won 38-6. They improved to 10-1 and advanced to the 5A quarterfinals.
You know, we're just looking to keep playing this season, extend our season as long as I can. So getting a big win is a good feeling for us.
This means a lot. You know, we went out and played our best, and you know, it showed what we did, what we can do.
How much farther can you guys take this, huh?
You know, we can go as far as we want.
Yes, they can. Coming up next, we look ahead to tomorrow's action at the small school level. A big one coming up in Stockton.
And an even bigger one involving the Byron Tigers. You're watching Overtime. One of the best high school football games of the entire playoffs last year was when Byron edged Lombard Montini in the 3A semifinals.
And now these two teams are ready for a rematch. The Battle of Lombard Part 2 tomorrow afternoon in a game that could be just as monumental. Last year, Byron trailed 20-18 with just over 8 minutes remaining in the game. The Montini Broncos were driving, but on a 4th down play, the game turned on a dime when Byron linebacker Caden Considine intercepted a Montini pass inside the 5-yard line. He returned it 45 yards. That play led to Considine's winning touchdown run with just over 3 minutes to play. Byron's 26-20 win enabled Byron to go on and win its 2nd state championship in 3 years.
Obviously, we all dream about those moments, the big games, making the big play, which I got my chance and I made the big play.
It was a stunning defeat for the Broncos. They'll have revenge on their minds Saturday.
We know they got a chip on their shoulders from last year. We got a chip on our shoulders too. We're the defending state champs. We got to remember that.
Since we beat them last year, I basically knew since that game we were going to play them again this year. So we knew their defense was super young. We're going to see all those guys again.
When I started playing them for the week, I went back to kind of how we did things last year. Our kids are familiar with the field and the locker room situation where we're going to warm up. So I think, you know, that's an advantage to have played there last year.
Well, a lot of people say this could be the state championship game in 3A. That's certainly possible, but Wilmington and Princeton are outstanding too.
And don't forget about the Dupec Rivermen. They were hoping to be in the hunt in 3A. They sure looked good last Saturday when they blew out Genoa Kingston 66-0. Cooper Hoffman completed 10 of 11 passes and 4 went for touchdowns. Jackson Diedrich was amazing. He hauled in 2 of those touchdown passes. Tomorrow, the Rivermen will make a long road trip to play Paxton Buckley Loda. That's just north of Champaign. The Panthers have a record of 7-3. They finished 4th in the Illinois Prairie Conference. Rockford Lutheran will have a home game in Class 1A. The Crusaders will play a very good Leroy Panthers team. Leroy is 3rd in the state rankings in Class 1A, and the Panthers are undefeated. Lutheran is feeling good going into the game, though. They played strong on the road last week. They beat Anawan Wethersfield 42-21.
I think we came together as a team. We showed that everybody on our offense, our skills player-wise, we can all do something. We all showed a little something.
Playoffs now, just knowing that losing, we're done. And all this work that me and all the other seniors have put in these past 4 years, we don't want it to end right now.
Dixon and Byron and Lena are exactly what we're going to face coming up here with Leroy. I mean, they just play bully ball. They don't pretend to do anything but come right at you.
Here's a very interesting game tomorrow in 1A. Lena Winslow at Stockton. The Blackhawks lost 3 of their first 5 games this season, but they have been on fire since then. Last week, they blew out Princeville 60-30. In the regular season game against Lee Win, Stockton gave Lena a battle before losing 30-14. That was way back in week 3. As for Lee Win, well, they looked real good last Saturday, lighting up Clifton Central 70-32. The Panthers were busting big plays all over the place with their speed. Get your popcorn for Lee Win against Stockton tomorrow. Also tomorrow in 5A, Sycamore plays at Chicago Westinghouse, and 1A Ottawa Marquette plays at Galena. Also in 1A, Sterling Newman plays at Gibson City Melvin Sibley.
There will be 8-man playoff action tomorrow as well. Polo Marcos will host West Carroll. The Marcos dominated Alden Hebron last week, 58-20. That ran their record to 10-0. Also in 8-man football, Milledgeville will play at Ridgewood, and Amboy will host Martinsville.
So let's have a little fun now and recognize some of our favorite players. First, our top 5 players from the Big Northern Conference. Drew, if you could only pick 5 players, who would they be?
Well, here's who I'm going. This is my top 5 right here. Number 1, Landon Carnegie out of Dixon. I mean, what can I say? You saw the highlights today. 4 touchdowns in today's game. Braden Knoll, he's just special. He makes plays. That's just who he is. And running back Gavin Sanders out of Lutheran, he just continues to make plays as well. He was a massive part in the game last week, and he's one of the top juniors. And next season, he could become for that number 1 spot. And of course, another year, another Shaner at quarterback, Colin Shaner. He had a total of 33 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. And then 5th, Eli Davidson. He led the league in receiving yards. And don't get me started with this defense. He's a straight dog.
All right, we agree on some of these. I'm going with Byron running back, defensive back Braden Knoll, then Byron quarterback, defensive back Andrew Talbert. He's a big play waiting to happen on both sides of the ball. I agree on Shaner from Dixon. What a year he's had. So 2 QBs, but like you, I'm taking 2. Lutheran running back Gavin Sanders. And in my 5th slot, Byron's Caden Considine. If he had been healthy all season, he'd probably be at the top of the list. So I put him in my top 5 just based on that winning 2-point conversion down at Dixon. Caden is such a gamer. All right, my top 5 picks from the NUIC are Dupec quarterback Cooper Hoffman, receiver linebacker Jackson Diedrich of Dupec. He's a great combination of skill and power. Then burner running back Alex Schlichting of Lee Win. I want EPC linebacker Will Burchin on my team. He plays with such a motor and wraps well making those tackles. And then I'll go with Fulton tight end Jacob Husinga. He has great hands and speed and great runs after the catch.
In my top 5, I have a Cooper Hoffman leading the conference. He's a stud. And second out in Lee Win, I'm going with Alex Schlichting. He's the complete package at running back. In third, I have Hoffman's teammate Jackson Diedrich. We saw a lot of him the last week. And he looked like that Joe Burrow-Jamar Chase duo all season long. In fourth, I'll take Alex's teammate Gannon Dunker, NUIC's Aaron Darnold. And rounding out my top 5, another Lee Win big boy, Luke Kemple.
We're all about the Nick 10 in these next 2 segments. 2 Nick 10 teams will take the field tomorrow.
Tim Bailey joins us as we talk Belvedere North and Boylan.
Three Nick 10 football teams were eliminated from the playoffs last week, and that left us with Belvedere North and Boylan.
They'll both play tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock at home. Belvedere North will host Wakanda. This is a rematch of their second-round game last season. It was a good one. North won 28-21. Wakanda plays in the Northern Lake County Conference. One of their 2 losses this season was to Canelan. Belvedere North just beat Canelan last week. Here's what North told us about the Wakanda Bulldogs.
We have to be very disciplined against what they do offensively. They're a wing T team, kind of up-tempo. We don't see many teams like that in our conference.
They're pretty good at running the ball, They're big, they're physical. We just got to stay together as a team and make sure we start off strong.
We hope we represent our school well, but we hope we represent the conference and the area well. We hope that we go out and play a consistent, tough brand of football like we've done all year.
Let's welcome in Tim Bailey now. Tim, you talked a lot with Coach Beck this week. What are your thoughts on the way North is playing and how they match up with Wakanda?
Well, I think they're playing well. I think this is where you want to be. This is how you want to be playing at this time of the year. You want to be clicking on all cylinders, as you saw them last week against Canelan. Just a phenomenal offensive display that Belvedere North put up on offense, and what they did on defense. They've just been doing that all year.
Feels like everything has fallen into place for North. This is their second straight home playoff game, and really they're only 10 minutes away from being undefeated right now. Those last 10 minutes against Hononegah when that game got away from them. So you kind of have the feeling that this is North's year to make a really deep run?
I think what they can do, I think they can be special this year. I think they can make a good run into the third round and possibly to the state game. Look, talking to Coach Beck the other day, and Ben Booker was on the actual Bailey podcast, they both understand what's at stake. They want to actually write history in the books, and that is getting to that state title game. Even though Coach Beck did say we're going to take things week by week, but definitely I could see it, I could hear it in them that, I think this is their year, and I think they believe it as well.
All right, the Boylan Titans will also be at home tomorrow. They're going to host the Coal City Kohlers. This is a pairing we've never seen before. The Kohlers, they have a record of 8-2. They've been in the playoffs 34 times now, so they have a great program. And last week they hammered Johnsburg 41-13. And the word from the Titans is the Kohlers are tough like a lump of coal.
I think they're incredibly physical. I like their defensive line. They really get after you. We've watched them on film a couple of times, and they are relentless up front. Their skills remind us a lot about our skills. They got good-sized kids. We've got good-sized backs. When you look at our backfield, they've got kids that can pick them up and put them down. They like to play with tight ends and fullbacks. So they're physical. It's a physical brand of football on both sides.
So, Tim, it's nice the Titans don't have to play IC Catholic or Oak Park Fenwick or somebody of that ilk, but they can't take this Coal City team lightly. And so my question is, we just heard how physical Coal City is. Are the Titans built to play physical style of game?
I think they are, and I said that too, mentioned this on my podcast the other day, was that, Boylan just needs to play Boylan football. And if you know anything about Boylan football, it's a physicality type of football that, we're going to run the ball, we're going to throw when we need to throw, we're going to play great defense. But again, if they can do that on Saturday, I think Boylan can actually come out with a big W. They just need to come up, show out, and play.
I thought they played physical too in that game we're looking at right there when they played up at Hononegah a few weeks ago. They went pretty well toe-to-toe physically with the Indians. All right, let's take another brief timeout. When we come back, we'll give you our top Nick 10 players from this season.
And who's the team to beat next year in the conference? Welcome back. Now let's recognize some of the players who stood out this season in the Nick 10. We all have our top 5 picks for the skill positions and for other positions.
So, Tim, we're going to let you go first. Give us your top 5 skilled position players for this year. Let's take a look here. Who's number 1?
Come on. Jamani Muhammad. What do you say about this young man? He's had one heck of a high school career. What he was able to do these last 3 years is nothing short of phenomenal. It's going to be interesting to see what this young man does at the next level.
All right, number 2 is?
LaShawn Gathright. If you guys didn't get out to see this young man play, this young man has what it takes to actually play at the next level. It's going to be interesting to see what he does once he gets to the next level.
All right, number 3?
Quarterback Dominic Kelly. What can you say about this young man? He's razzle-dazzle. He was the total package. He could pass, he could run. He was really that big. He was really the staple in Hononegah's offense this year.
All right, 4th.
Guilford, Messiah Tilson. What do you say about this young man? He's Division I recruit. He's getting recruited by SEC Big Ten schools and the Big 12 schools. So, it's going to be interesting to see. This kid's only a junior,
Right.
So Guilford's real lucky to get him back next year, but it's going to be really interesting to see his growth and his maturation in 2025.
And rounding out your top 5.
Running back, Cam Verner, my man. Wow. I'll tell you, this young man, he wasn't just a running back, but he was a defensive player too. What he was able to do on offense was nothing short of phenomenal. It's going to be interesting to see what he does, at the next level as he goes on to that next level. So.
All right, Drew, who are your top 5 skilled players?
All right, LaShawn at number 1, just because offense and defense. Every game I went to, I don't think he ever came off the field for a single snap. The kid's incredible. Jamani Muhammad, which you said, kid's incredible. Special. I mean, special is the word. Cam Verner, I got him at 3. Once again, both sides of the ball, offense, defense, playmaker. I mean, he was a game changer. Kurt Smith, I mean, there were so many guys I saw him truck this year. That kid is incredible, high motor.
Force to reckon with.
Dominic Kelly, like you said, he can throw the ball, he can run. He's always looking for his teammates to get open. If they're not open, he's going to make a play himself.
Yeah, he can take a nothing play and turn it into a huge play. Exactly. All right, here's my top 5 skill players. Jamani Muhammad, I make it unanimous. LaShawn Gathright, that's unanimous too. Then I threw in Ben Booker, big-time home run hitter. We saw it last week in the playoffs, but amazing speed. Curtis Smith, too. I like his hard-nosed, hard-running style. He always gets positive yardage. And then I got Sebastian Bracious. I was wavering between him and Dominic Kelly. I went with Bracious because of his passing and running ability, his size. I think, you put a little better team around him, he would really pop people's eyes.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's our skilled players. Now, Tim, we don't want to leave out all the other position players, the linebackers, the linemen. So give us your top 5 other players. Number 1.
I mean, come on. I mean, Eric Roman, Belvedere North. You know what? You can't say enough about the season that this young man has had. Not just on defense. I know we're on defense, but he played offense as well. But as it relates to what he's been able to do on defense, again, folks, it's just nothing short of phenomenal. I just like what he does.
Next up.
Ben Booker, Belvedere North. Again, another guy that plays offense, but also plays defense.
Oh, yeah.
What he does in that secondary for Belvedere North, he's just able to make plays, in the secondary. This kid's a really good athlete. It's going to be interesting to see what he does and his maturation going into 2025.
Number 3 is?
Number 3, O-line, D-line. My main man, Baron Shaw from Boylan High School. A good two-way player. He's going to be going on to Eastern Illinois commit to go to the next level. He's going to be on that defensive line for the Panthers. You can't say enough about the career he's had. Hopefully they get it done on Saturday and he can punch his ticket to the actual third round.
All right, number 4.
Chris Tolliver. Wow, this young man here is probably one of the best top 2, top 3 defensive backs that we have in the conference. He led the ERABs with 6 picks. It's just really going to be interesting to see what he does at the next level as well.
And number 5.
Number 5, my main man, Jackson Cook, Cookie Man for Harlem. What can you say about this young man? He's only a sophomore. He was box office on defense. What he's been able to do this year on the field is nothing short of sensational. Again, it's going to be interesting to see what he does. But only being a sophomore over these next 2 years, how much growth can he make? And then also, too, what are his opportunities going to be like at the next level?
All right, Drew, let's look at your top 5 other position players.
The Cookie Man from 5 to 1. 8 interceptions, I believe, if not more. A couple were for pick sixes. Every game I went to, he was in the end zone defensively. The kid's special, like you said, only a sophomore. Jacob Benson, anytime you saw Hananiga run the ball, they were going his way because that boy can block. Ben Booker, he can, we talked about offense, defense. The kid makes plays. He's just pure playmaker. Now let's continue the Belvedere North, Eric Roman. That Belvedere North defense was the best, or one of the best for the reason. It's because guys like these two. Baron Scholl, the stats weren't eye-popping, but it's because guys weren't going their way because they were scheming around him because he's so good.
All right, and my top 5 other, Jackson Cook, unanimous. Jacob Benson, love that big guy on the line blocking for me. Baron Scholl, Boylan, that's unanimous. And then I went with Noah Rooney out of all those great Belvedere North linebackers because Rooney kept making tackles in my viewfinder at every game I was at constantly. Number 22 was showing up. And then the best kept secret in the Nick 10, I believe, Brendan Tell, DB for Hananiga. This guy is superb in coverage. He had my eyes popping last week in that playoff game against Willowbrook, diving and knocking the balls away. All right, so let's look ahead to next year now, Tim. Which team has the best shot to win conference based on the returning talent?
I think the teams are, it's pretty simple. Belvedere North's got to be that team. we're going to see next year. Guilford's going to be that team. Both of those teams I just mentioned, they have a bevy of playmakers coming back. Harlem's going to be in that mix. They have a bevy of playmakers coming back. So it's going to be interesting to see, what those teams do. And then you can't forget about Boylan. They're going to reload. They're going to come back. They got a lot of starters returning from this year, returning next year. So it's going to be really interesting to see what those 4 teams do next year. But those would be my top 4 teams right now if it was 2025.
I'm going to go with Belvedere North. All right, we saw Freeport step up this year, make good improvement. Which team do you believe is ready to make a jump next year?
I think it's Guilford. I think it's Guilford's year next year. I really thought Guilford was going to actually get it done this year, but they didn't get it done. I think they kind of underperformed in some areas, but I think what they have coming back in 2025, they have a bevy of playmakers. They have an arsenal of athletes coming back. I'd like to see them really get it done. I think Guilford can be at least a 9-0 Nick 10 champ team or 8-1 team next year.
Well, folks, if you want more from Tim on Nick 10 playoff football, check out the Bailey Pod. You can find it on YouTube. This week, his guests are Belvedere North coach Jeff Beck and running back Ben Bucher.
Tim, sad to say this is it. We appreciate your expertise. Now you can go back to your full-time job at Mercy Health Top Performers and train more studs like Jamani Muhammad and Fred Van Vliet and Dean Lowry and on and on and on.
And the crew, yeah. Exactly.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right,
we'll be
guys.
right back. Have a great weekend, everybody.